Inside Boxing's Throwdown. My name is Steve Johnson. My co-host, Aurelio Martinez. Slugger, Aurelio Slugger Martinez. Alright. Let's talk about last night's fight. That was on Showtime, where it was a top rank, it was a Tom Brown promoted event where in the main event we had Mikey Garcia, who's now 38-0, taking on Sergey Lipinets, and that was for the IBF World Super Lightweight title held by Mikey Garcia. Okay?
Yep.
So
no,
it was held by Lipinets.
Sergey.
That's right. I'm sorry, it was held by Lipinets because Mikey, as a matter of fact, I think is one of the first times we've seen him enter the ring first, as you know. But anyway, let's talk about first. Let me talk about one fight on the undercard that was one that we thought would be good. It was a rematch between Rances Barthélemy and Kirill Reynek. Okay, and that was for the vacant WBA World Super Lightweight title.
Okay.
I was shocked. I have to admit, I was shocked that Barthélemy brought nothing.
Now you said that was a rematch.
Yes.
Okay.
It was a rematch.
So Barthélemy won the first one.
Well, the first one, Barthélemy won the first one.
Yeah.
Okay, and it was weird because Barthélemy was kind of given a gift. He threw some low blows. Okay. If you might remember, there were low blows thrown. Yeah. You know, he did the same thing again last night. Low blows, but the only difference was that Reynek just took him apart. Literally, Reynek was throwing 100 punches around, and Barthélemy was throwing maybe 10 punches around. And I don't know what the deal was, but I can tell you one thing, Aurelio. The thing that stood out to me is that as a 140-pound world champion, it just goes to show you how there was no alternative but for Terence Crawford to move up to 147. These guys are not in the same class as him at all. Reynek took apart Barthélemy, but he couldn't cut the ring off. It was literally a track meet, trying to move around. He couldn't cut the ring off on him, and so it was kind of a boring. No. It wasn't kind of. It was a boring fight. It was a boring fight. But I'll tell you one thing. Everyone said that Reynek has he's real heavy-handed. He hit Barthélemy with some bombs, and he didn't go anywhere. So, like I said, what was stand out to me is that lightweight division, the super lightweight division. There's no question Terence Crawford had to leave. These guys can't compete with him.
So what does Rances do now?
Who?
Rances. The way you say it.
Oh, okay. Barthélemy?
Yeah.
He's kind of done, man. I don't know.
And it's only one loss.
Well, I don't know. If you looked at him last night, if you get a world champion that takes you apart like that, where do you come back from? You go back to the drawing board and start over? That's about what he's got to do. I don't know. I don't know. I'm trying to figure out what he does exactly. But let's move on because the main event with Mikey Garcia and Sergey Lipinets was a fight that everyone wanted to see. Once again, in San Antonio, Texas, you would expect Garcia, Mexican-American, strong ties to Mexico. You'd expect that place to be sold out. It wasn't. A shock to me a little bit because Mikey Garcia is one that's been throwing out all these names of guys that he wants to fight. He actually has proclaimed himself as pay-per-view worthy. Last night's fight didn't show anything. I'm talking about just from the crowd. Showed nothing of him being pay-per-view worthy and actually kind of exposed him as being boring, against a guy that he had in trouble.
Well,
the guy comes back, but I'll let you take over in a minute, but let me just finish this thought and then I'm going to listen to you because I just don't think that he's that pay-per-view worthy. After seeing him, his last couple of fights, moving up to 140, my own opinion, and his brother Robert Garcia said it. He thinks that 135 is his category, and I think he's right. I don't think that all this talk about Terence Crawford, these other guys, it's actually insanity, especially after you watch last night. But he needs to fight at 135 where he can be dominant.
Well, let me just say that, and I have to agree with you to a certain point.
And I hate that.
To a certain point.
Okay.
I think Mikey Garcia is pay-per-view or will be pay-per-view worthy. I just think that this fight was actually good in a weird way for the Garcias because they were on that high horse. They were on that flying unicorn. I mean, calling everyone out and kind of putting himself out there as God's gift to boxing and stuff like that. But I think that this brought him down. And I'm on record as saying from last week's show, as saying that Sergey Lipinets didn't have a chance, no chance at all to win this fight. Okay,
Yeah.
and to tell you, I got a little frustrated at the beginning of the round. The first 4 rounds, Lipinets was taking it to Mikey. I mean, he was, and I've never seen Mikey get hit like this as much as he did. Lipinets was actually pounding on him, hitting him, and had Mikey fighting in a backtrack motion. Okay, and you know me as a trainer and stuff, I hate that. You cannot win a fight backtracking. Okay, you take away your own power. You tend to fight more defensively. You let the other fighter score, and you let the other fighter lay heavy hands on you. So I was getting a little frustrated, and I'm saying, well, geez, if this goes on like this, Mikey's going to have a hard time. But naturally, he got it all together. I just think that maybe in one of the first few rounds he got hit, and he felt the power, or something happened, and he started to fight a little cautiously. But you know, in the 6th round, he started to come alive. And of course, in the 7th round, he dropped him, and then everything changed. The Mikey came out that everyone
But
knew.
Mikey still couldn't stop him.
And
so,
but that's what I'm saying. What it did was it brought him down to earth. So now we can stop hearing the nonsense about challenging Terrence Crawford or challenging Jeff Horn or Muhammad Ali. Or because everything was coming out of his mouth. Everything was coming out of his mouth. So now, okay, slow down. Go back to the weight that you need to go, which is like you say, 35. Obviously, they realize that. 35, stay there. Try to get yourself a fight with the guy who doesn't hit hard, Lomachenko. Okay, because Lomachenko could hit him 30, 50 times and not gonna hurt Mikey. So Mikey can make a name for himself there. I mean, that's the fight that Mikey can make himself pay-per-view worthy. Okay.
Once again, I don't think that's a pay-per-view fight. I don't think that anybody.
No, that's a fight that can make him pay-per-view worthy.
To beat Lomachenko.
Yeah, if he beats Lomachenko, then he'll become a pay-per-view worthy.
Okay, well
fighter.
then who's he gonna fight for pay-per-view?
Well, then he can. Well,
you just answered. That's right. He beats Lomachenko, and that's not pay-per-view. He's not pay-per-view. So that's probably why he was mentioning Terrence Crawford, these other guys, because he knows that could possibly pay-per-view. Yeah, it's about the money, But last night, for you guys, I got to hear his brother Robert Garcia when he was asked exactly what is his best weight. He said he looks good now, he's strong, but 135 is his weight category. So
yeah, 47's out the question.
Oh, out of the question.
47.
We saw last night 140's out of the question.
Yeah.
He doesn't want to be messing with these other.
Yeah, because
boys
Lipinets is not what you'd say that top monster type fighter that he's been calling out. I mean, when you start calling out Crawford and Terrence and Danny Garcia and all these other guys, you're calling out the beef.
Danny Garcia would love for a fight with Mikey Garcia.
Oh yeah.
Danny Garcia would take him apart. There's no question about that.
But I think you're going to see him come back down and fight at 135. And but then again, he's eager to be in that marquee status. And is there anyone at 35 that can give him that marquee status?
I don't think so. I would think that for Mikey Garcia, I think he's up there. Like I said, he's probably going to drop back down to 135, but possibly a fight between Lipinets and Rances Barthelemy. Since you think that, what do you call him? You don't call him Rances, you call him what?
Rances.
Okay, Rances Barthelemy, he and Lipinets. That might be a good fight. The two losers last night going against each other in a fight to show us.
Talking about Lipinets, he's trained by Buddy McGirt, and I like Buddy.
I like Buddy too.
I like Buddy McGirt, and he kind of has that same philosophy that I always had: defensive. Now, what I don't really understand is Lipinets has good movement, and he's got that movement where he's defensive, but he gets hit. So something's got to be fixed there, because you got the good movement, but then he stops to think about what he's going to throw or to set his feet to throw. And he's got to understand, if you're going to be a defensive fighter, you have to be able to throw. You have to be able to throw them punches, which are just scoring punches.
Well, that just goes to show you. I think you said it.
Yeah.
It doesn't come naturally to him, and so when it doesn't come naturally, you kind of become robotic. And I think that's the problem that he has. Because, like you said, man, he's moving.
He's got the good movement,
but he has no comeback. So once he stops to think about comeback, he gets hit.
Well, he stops because he wants to lay heavy punches. Okay, and what you have to do when you got a defensive stature and you're moving, you got to be able to snap, pop,
That's
pop, pop.
what
You
I'm
got to be able,
saying.
you got to be able to score and set up the power.
It just doesn't come
Okay.
naturally to him.
And-
He's working
and
hard
since-
at it, but
and
he
since
can't work hard at it. against
Since
the
he
guy.
can't do that, he gets hit.
And you have to remember, man, you know that even though Mikey Garcia's 30 years old, he's 38-0 now. I mean, he's got quite the resume he's acquired.
He
and
does.
you can't come out practicing against him.
No, you
okay.
can't.
So, so anyway, that's the end of segment number 2. We're gonna come back with number 3, where we talk about everything. And there's a couple of things I want to talk. Our open topic, and I want to start off with a couple of things that locally are really good for Colorado boxing that happened this weekend. But we'll be back and talk about that in the meantime. Hey, keep them hands up, baby. Keep them up.